Welcome back, everyone, to our next episode of the VersePod. We are joined by our special guest today, John Gillon. John was a guard at Colorado State, as well as Jack and I's native Syracuse. He now plays overseas, and we're going to talk to him a lot about his experience, in college, and everything about what happens to make up a professional basketball player. So thank you for joining us, John. A lot of our viewers will remember some big moments you gave Syracuse in your season there, and of course we're excited to see what you're putting on today and still doing. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, man. I was excited to come.
Definitely. So, John, we know that you like sports. You've played sports your whole life, but you like to sports bet as well. So that makes for a good content podcast for us because that's what we do. That's what we talk about. We talk about the odds. We talk about how stupid the public is, and so we
easily manipulated.
Exactly. So let's just start it off talking about Syracuse. So, John, you came to Syracuse as a grad transfer. And in your 1 year there, can you just tell us a little bit what it was like to play under Jim Boeheim and for Syracuse, especially, having seen that from, playing for another school as well, seeing it from the outside and the inside. Just take us through a little bit about that.
It's definitely a special experience. Just growing up, I always wanted to be an ACC guard. Those are like, in my opinion, like you don't even like when you're growing up, sometimes you don't even think about playing in the NBA. It's just like, I want to go Division I. I want to go Division I. Mm-hmm. You see all the best guards that you can remember played in the ACC. Yeah. They led their team. And I was like, man, I mean, it sounded crazy. Like when I was in high school and like I was lowly recruited, but I was like, I can do that. I always thought I could do that. I was like, I gotta, before I die, I gotta do something like that. So it was definitely a special experience playing for arguably the best college coach of all time, just getting to learn from him. And side note, most winningest coach.
Yeah,
I know, they try to
take it away.
They try to take it from him, but he earned it. Most winningest coach in college basketball history. There's nothing like it, man. There's no words to describe how lucky I was to be able to do that.
Absolutely. It's really sad to see the games now with no fans in the dome, because, that's just like sort of our baseline is that roaring orange crowd. And it's weird.
You feed off of that.
Exactly.
You feed off of that. I can remember games like we're playing against, you saw, I mean, I don't need to go through all the teams, but the ACC was packed the year I was there with a lot of talent. And I don't think we have the same record without the fans, just because they give you that energy boost. Like you get endorphin releases, you get adrenaline pumping just from, you hit a shot, you just hear them going crazy. And it's just like, you can't let all these people down. Like they're really behind you, supporting you. They feel like they're in the game too. So,
especially these ones.
Comparing what it's like playing with obviously the fans in the crowd to without fans, is it literally just a completely different game out there?
It's totally different, man. You don't get like, I know, let's say you're a little tired. Let's say you're a little banged up. That adrenaline you get from being in that game environment kind of masks that pain.
Exactly.
And it makes you move faster. It's just a different feeling. And when you don't have the fans, it doesn't feel like a real game. You don't get some of those same feelings that you get before.
I have a question on that. Do you feel like the fans bring an element that makes it, you're more scared of performing bad because there's fans, or you're more excited to perform well because there's fans? Do you feel like it's a downward pressure or an upward pressure?
I never really was worried about playing bad. Mm-hmm. Like when I was playing, I don't think a lot of people are worried about that. Just that extra element of having the fans is fun. Mm-hmm. Like that's like when you think of basketball, it's like, all right, you go on offense, you go on defense, you dribble, you shoot. Like those are all aspects of basketball. Like in a game, fans are an aspect of basketball. in my opinion. It's just like your environment definitely matters. Like you can't hear, like you don't get that same home court advantage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the when you're going into certain places, I remember, sorry to go off of Syracuse, I remember I was playing at Colorado State.
Yeah.
And we went to the pit. That's in New Mexico. They go crazy down there, like crazy. I couldn't even call a play because it was so loud. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was so loud that you can't even call it. So that matters. Like you have a home court advantage. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
So it is different.
It's crazy having that element right now just completely out of the game, and it's really, like, as you went into it, completely changes the game. But
Right.
I'm interested to hear, John, like when you were playing at Little Rock in Colorado State, did you always have that goal in mind to eventually transfer to the ACC?
I knew I wanted to play high major. Like I knew I wanted to go to a high major school. I didn't know if the ACC was even possible for me. Like I was shocked with the amount of offers that I got after I left Colorado State. I only had one, maybe two high major offers when I left Little Rock. I averaged double digits as a freshman, so that's solid. They think they can develop. So I had a 10 to 12 offers probably. I was close to going to A&M, but they were like slow on offering me. And then actually the day they offered me, I committed to Colorado State that day. Like I literally committed to Colorado State. 10 minutes later, A&M called me.
Oh no.
It was like, all right, we finally have, they didn't know I even committed. I was like, wow, this is crazy. Cause I really wanted to go to A&M because it's an hour from my house in Houston. So, but when I left Colorado State, graduated, I had a solid year. I did really well at the end. Everyone was calling, like it was crazy. Like I didn't think I would have that many options. So it kind of changed my perspective. And then when my dad told me Coach Boeheim called, he was like, John, you'll never guess who I just talked to. I was like, who? Because they talked to him before me. They were like, I just talked to Coach Boeheim. I was like, for what? And then he was like, they like you. They want you to come on a visit. I was like, wow. In the back of my head, I was like, I gotta go there. Like that, like that's it. Like I only visited Syracuse and I committed.
Can you talk about what it was like living on campus and just your experience in Syracuse?
Yeah, campus, it was fun, man. Like it was fun. Just like I lived at Park Point.
Yeah, that was a good spot.
Yeah, that's a great spot, man. So I was right by Marshall Street. Like I was right by the frat houses walking around. So that environment was just really cool to me because I never really went to a school that had that much school spirit. Colorado State had a decent school spirit. It wasn't anything crazy. Little Rock had none. None at all. Like
That's awesome.
So it was cool, man. I'll never forget, like, I don't really talk about the Duke game a lot, but like I remember the environment driving to the game was crazy. It was like, it gets cold. So, but that day, it was the perfect day. It was like 65 degrees, sunny. You see nothing but parties everywhere, people driving around everywhere. I was like,
and it's not the students, it's the people of Syracuse are just throwing ragers in the street for the game.
Oh yeah, they were going crazy. I was like, man, this is wild. But one last thing, my one problem with Syracuse fans is like, it seems as if like they're going that crazy because Duke came into town. It's like they care about Duke more than us.
Yeah, I do feel like there's just from having been one of the people that was like, I cared about the games, but I spent a lot of times at the tailgates and not so much in the stands. Like a lot of those girls have no idea when the game starts or ends. And it's like ridiculous. They're like, who are we playing? And it's like, it's some of it is fake school spirit. We will get.
Oh yeah, it is. It's the nostalgia behind it. And Like
100%.
people not even knowing my name. Like I'd have like girls come up to me like, "Oh, you're a buzzer boy." I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right.
Let's talk a little bit about All-Star snubs because the game is this weekend and Trae Young is not going to be there. So, John, as a point guard, I mean, Trae Young's doing some crazy stuff. I get the team isn't doing, the best and they spent a lot of money this summer, but is it justifiable that he's not an All-Star this year?
There could be there could be a better formula to put you in, like a better criteria. It's like they harp on something new, just like how they harp on something new for Syracuse to make the tournament every year. It's like, all right, well, this year, this person didn't do this, but is it just contradicting? Because then you'll have someone else that's not doing great or is in the same situation as you. So it's really tricky. I don't really think there should be a fan vote because just think about it like this. The common person is a casual.
Yeah, absolutely.
95% of people don't know anything about basketball at all. At all.
And most of them
how can we give those people a vote? Like they're voting for their favorite person or what they identify with instead of who's the most effective. Like they don't even know that.
Do you think a player vote would be a player and coach only?
A player vote would be better because the players understand basketball more. Mm-hmm. Like James Harden's not even starting.
Yeah, that's
in an All-Star game. That's unacceptable.
You think he should be starting over Brad Beal?
Brad Beal's putting up about 34.5 a game on a losing team. He missed the All-Star game entirely last year as a 30-point per game average snub. So I do think he absolutely should be an All-Star. But yeah, if anyone's going to swap out the starting lineup, it's probably him and Harden.
James Harden is leading the league in assists by far on the best team in the East right now.
I saw a ridiculous graphic that he's already second all-time in franchise triple-doubles for the Nets, and he's played 22 games.
No one can tell me he's not top 5 in the NBA. Like I understand that he might not be people's favorite, but just like effectiveness. And then like, so if I were to go to somebody and be like, all right, James Harden is top 5 in the NBA. I mean, it's very debatable, I guess is what you like. Like, I can't say that for sure, but that's what I think. They would say, oh, he doesn't play defense. A casual thing to say. Then his defensive numbers are crazy. Like you're not scoring to him on ISO possessions. Post, he almost steals it every time. He's 6th in the league in deflections. Last year, he was 2nd in the league in steals. And then he's the best scorer. Like you can't stop him. And he's the best passer.
Jack and I go back and forth a little on this. I think James Harden is probably the best offensive player like of the generation.
I agree.
Player just like in terms of, as you're saying, creating shots, making shots, being unguardable. He is an all-in-one package. And you're right, his defensive stats, you can't make up 2nd in the league in steals. That's not a fake stat like that.
Well, his effort isn't there all the time. I have to be objective. That's how I am. Like we haven't had a lot of debates. Like even if a point might not go with my argument, I still have to say it. He doesn't give effort all the time. So it looks bad. Yeah. He's built a stigma. So that's what people go with. But
John, that's my argument. I say that Harden is 100% the best scorer of this generation, and him not giving his effort at all times brings a losing culture to every organization that he goes to. And
what's a losing? He's the only person in the past 8 years in the West to make the playoffs every year.
And he's a winner. Playoffs, and he's not hitting that next step. And I think that
his team is so bad.
He's a Chris Paul hamstring away from a finals win.
We'll see what happens this year because I think this will.
But listen though, what is our standard of winning?
Yeah, Jack and I disagree on this because.
But look though, you're playing against arguably the best team of all time, like the Warriors with KD. Like that's not even fair. But
I just I don't know if Kyrie, KD, and James Harden are going to be able to share the ball in the playoffs come time for.
James Harden is a willing passer, so I think that
You guys calling for the ball with 20 seconds left on that team, like that.
I mean, he's deferred. He's only averaging 25 points right now. I think 25 and 11. So he knows he has to be the one to pass. Like Kyrie's not going to do it. KD doesn't have the IQ and playmaking and passing ability to Harden. So he's taking that role as the point guard on that team. So like I think he'll go a game, score 20, get 15 assists, or he just had 30, 15, and 40. Like he knows what to do.
So overall, you think that Harden should be starting over Beal in the All-Star game?
He's arguably the best player, man. Like I think the way he left things with the Rock, that hurt me. I'm from Houston. I lived in Houston my whole life. Like that sucks. Like, we're missing Harden. Rockets have lost 12 games in a row.
Yeah, it's not.
They looked good at first. They looked really good at first without him.
They gotta ship Oladipo out, especially after he turned down the extension. They got something.
Why would you not take that? I don't understand that.
I honestly like that Wall Oladipo Boogie combination, and then it looks like
what happened with Boogie? I don't understand. Like the Rockets don't want him. Why would you get rid of Boogie? Like I get he won't roll to the basket, which is killing me.
Yeah.
Especially as a point guard, like it's tough playing with a big that pops every time. Like it's tough. Like it really is tough because if they switch the screen, you don't have an advantage. If he's going out, like my man switches on him, he has a small on him, but he's out at the 3-point line.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I thought Wall and Boogie together, just them being on the same team was enough to keep them together for at least the full season. I mean, that signing this summer seemed clear. Like, okay, they signed DeMarcus and then traded for Wall. That's a fun combo. There's some talent on that team. Christian Wood's looking great.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't forget about Wood. He's been out.
He was at UNLV when I was at Colorado State. I played him. He was in our conference. Man, that guy's talented, man.
Talented.
He's talented. Like it's
Philly, so
it's crazy that he was in the G League. Like I think it's honestly like it shows how political basketball is. It shows like it's sad. Like stuff like that should never happen. I don't care what they try to twist. Like he should have never been in the G League. I played him in the G League too. He got 40 every time.
So speaking of the G League, I think the NBA is really they think ahead better than a lot of the other leagues, and I think the G League Ignite team is really the future of for some kids the future of pre-professional basketball. Which I mean, it is professional basketball, but as an alternative, I mean, we look at guys like Jalen Green on the Ignite team. As someone who played in the G League, what's your thoughts on that team, and what do you think of it? If you were in the position of someone considering a G League offer to play with the Ignite team or going to a top school, where would your decision making sort of factor in?
First of all, I want to say the NCAA is in trouble.
Yes.
People are just getting way past that prehistoric, old school,
amateur.
Your education is enough. You guys make no money. We monopolize the whole system, and we make billions. Y'all make zero. It's just stupid. Like I'm looking back, and most basketball players, including me at this point, like, I mean, I have my master's degree, but I've never used a degree. I've never had a job. So, I mean, will I need it later? Probably. But I mean, all the business ventures that I'm thinking of now, I mean, I don't really need a degree, especially now. Like, you just have to be smarter and find a need, fill that need. Like, I mean, the world is changing. So, like, I think that the NCAA better hurry up and pay a lot, or they're going to lose money. Yeah. But if I could go back and if I wanted to have the longest, best basketball career, I would just go pro initially.
Mm-hmm. Right from
like if I had a son, I'm the son. Like I saw how I performed in the G League. Like I did pretty well. Like I think that if I would have done that, I could be in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
Like I think that, or not even if I'm not in the NBA, I'm further along. Like what are you going to college for? Like
you're realizing
huh?
Guys are realizing that now, and like you see what LaMelo's doing, not playing in college, and he's having it just an easier road to the NBA. He's making money before he even gets there.
Do you think
he's 19
will successfully implement sort of what soccer or minor league baseball have, where they have farm programs and players can be kept within an organization and developed for years? Because I do think the NBA is tented in a way that said, oh, you're not 18 or 19 coming out the draft, you are less valuable now. Where those guys may have been much better off playing either in the G League or in college for a couple years than going to the draft. And, we have examples of 3 or 4 year players that are tremendous right out the jump. But do you think the G League's rise may reverse that culture a little bit? Will we see like first round picks in the G League to start seasons maybe, or probably not?
I don't know how it will turn out. I just think that like college basketball is not as good. There's not a clear powerhouse anymore, because you'll have Jalen Green going to Kentucky. You would have Jonathan Kuminga going to Duke. Like you would have, you know what I'm saying? Like all those kids would be going to a college program, and that would make that team so much better. Mm-hmm. So now you'll see, well, it's two things. Now you see mid-major schools sticking in with high major schools in games, because the talent level isn't much different. Like when I was at Syracuse, we never lost to a mid-major school ever. Like even like we did bad to start, but a mid-major school, we smacked them, get on to the next game. I think half of that is the recruiters are getting lazy. They're not actually going out and finding kids. They're just looking at lists, like top 100 lists. There's 1,000 kids. How accurate is that list?
Well, also you had these kids wanted to go to these schools, and now you have to go after them more than you did in the past. Whereas it was more like they wanted to go to you. So I mean, the North Carolina team was staying at my apartment complex before the game. So last night or 2 nights ago, I saw the entire team, and like I realized like, wow, like this is the first time ever that there's no one on North Carolina that I'm actually like excited to see. Like this is.
I don't know one player on North Carolina. When does that ever happen? I don't know one player.
And last year, Cole Anthony was the only one anyone could name either. I mean,
Cole Anthony, I knew him. Other than that, I couldn't name anybody.
But it's the same for all these blue blood schools right now. Like even Duke, and I mean, you look at Kentucky and Kansas. Like there's no one that is going top 5 in the draft that's on any blue blood team.
More Jalen Johnson scenarios where, okay, you may have gotten an injury that could get worse. It's not worth playing a damn game. And I mean, Kyrie did that, many, many years ago, and we've seen some players do that, but I think that'll be more common as well.
People are starting to get smarter. Like a lot of the old school ways of thinking, like it's just starting to go out the window. Like we're becoming more progressive. Like the younger people aren't like, all right, we're not going to just blindly listen to you because you're old. We're going to look for the most efficient way of living. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm taught in school. Like I'm an econ major. Like efficiency, the first thing they tell you, efficiency leads to a higher standard of living.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so, it just sounds ridiculous. Like I don't even understand how we got to this point of accepting that.
It's like also the popularity of basketball has continued to rise, and now it's at the point where it's like you can't ignore it anymore. Where these kids have been playing for free for years and have had that thought in their heads, but now that everyone's saying it out loud, it's like, yo, wait, I've been thinking the same thing.
when JJ Redick is getting a 1-year, $27 million deal when he's 34, and that's what Tom Brady makes, in the peak of his career. It's not just basketball's on the rise. Basketball is the better use of your time and body than a sport like football or hockey. If you want to look at the average contracts getting doled out to non-top 4 players on the teams.
Think about how ridiculous this is. We're told, like, we have let the NCAA develop our conscience. Like, so we take money, like, let's say, oh my gosh, he took money.
You mean God?
Okay, like, okay, like,
exchange for
where, like I said, where in the economy are you good at something and you can't profit off of it? Like you'll hear people say, like, man, he took money. Like, let's give him the death sentence. Like, that's the worst thing you could do. Like, that's not a bad thing. Yeah. Like, it's against the rules that you guys made, so you could funnel all the money to you. Like, they control the amount of meals you can have. Like, you have like donor parents. Like, you can't even go eat at their house on certain days. Like, what, you don't want us to get fat? Like, what? Like, the rules are just so ridiculous, man. Like, it's crazy. Like, the conscience that they've had everyone develop is stupid. Like, I've openly spoke out against it. Like, it's just dumb. I wish I never got paid, but I wish I did, man. I'd have took it.
I mean, everyone's going to Duke to play for Coach K. People are going to Cuse to play for Boeheim. But aside from the actual coach, like, what is the reason that these top schools are getting the best players every single year? Like, I feel like there's got to be an under the table reason for that.
Yeah, I mean, how do you even get to the point of, like, let's say all the schools start off at around the same time, same level. It's like big bank wins, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's how, like, you'll see a random team, like, just one day they'll just get this crazy nice player and they win, and that kind of is like a snowball effect, and then you can start recruiting a little more.
Yeah. So, John, we were just talking about, betting on the NBA and college and watching the games. You're over in Hungary. That's a 5 or 6 hour time difference. So what is your day-to-day like, obviously playing overseas and then keeping up to date and keeping your bet slip, filled and on the American side?
I used to be, like, last year I was really, like, betting every day. Like, there's nothing else to do really. And I was actually up a lot. This year I kind of slowed down just because I've been moving a lot, because I was in Turkey and then, like, I changed teams. So I haven't had as much time. I've been tired, but I have the NBA, like, league pass.
Yeah.
Had to get it. And I stay, like, it's bad, but I've been staying up super late to watch some of these games. Like, if you have the last leg of your parlay, you can't go to sleep. You can't go to sleep, man. Come on. Like, it's like 3, 4 in the morning, and it'll be like third quarter. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I just gotta close my iPad. I'm just like, no, I can't. It's like, because I feel like I'm controlling the game with my mind. Yeah, I sound like a junkie. I sound like a junkie.
Don't we all, though? Like, I fully feel like I control the game, when I'm betting on it. Like, I'm watching every second. If I stop rooting for them, like, they're gonna blow it. But, like, how many times do you lose the last leg of your leg? Seriously.
Let me tell you a story. I will never. People laugh when I tell them this, and I'm not joking. I will never forgive the Oklahoma City Thunder for what they did to me. I was on the two teams I will never forgive. Ole Miss football, like, they put me to the point where I want to DM some of the players. The Thunder had to win by 13. Why I bet on that, I don't know.
When was
maybe I don't remember. Was it 13?
Was it Russ and KD?
It was like plus 12. It was plus 12 against a team that just kept losing. It might have been the Warriors. I think it was the Warriors. It was last year.
Huh.
They were up like 30. You know, when you're up 30, you're like, okay, let me not stress myself out about this game. I'm gonna watch these. I'm stressed with one leg on my parlay. I forgot which one it was. They did it last second. I'm like, whew. Let me tell you why I won't forgive the Thunder. I checked the Thunder game. They were up 8. They were up 8. No. They were up 4 with like 5 minutes left. I'm like, I cannot believe this. I had $2,000 just in my pocket, easy. Like it was like an 8-teamer. I had all of it.
Oh.
Listen, this is how sick it was. They got the lead back up to 15. And it was like a few minutes left. And then they ended up like, they stopped scoring. They won by like 8. When I tell you, like, I was shaking. I could not believe it because I thought, like, I wasn't worried about that game at all. I'm like, oh man, the Thunder are doing it. Then this year, Ole Miss was playing who were they playing? Who did they play at the end? It was like a very close game.
I might actually know what game you're talking about. So I remember
they were playing a better team, but I'm like, Ole Miss always has like crazy talent. They just for some reason just suck. Listen to what I did. They were the underdog. There was another, I would have won like 5,000. This is how sick it was. I was thinking of the things I was gonna buy. I think I wanted to invest. Some more in my stock portfolio. Side note, I'm up like 60%. I'm up like 60%. Everything I touch is gold. But they act like I accidentally made them like money line. I'm looking at my ticket and I'm like, why are they money line? They were losing by like a lot. Like I had them going over for the game. But at some point, I'm like, for them to win, they had to go over, so I wasn't worried. They took the lead. Mm-hmm. They were up 8 with like 5 minutes to go and lost.
Was it 53-48 against LSU?
Yeah, it was that game. Oh. It had to have been that game.
I gotta ask, were you into betting or interested in betting when you were playing at all? I
never. I liked it. Like back then, I liked to like gamble. I'd always be at like Turning Stone. Yeah, but I don't think you can bet on college basketball in college.
Oh, you certainly can't. But like that, I don't know if there was something that was interesting to you. Even
no. I never did sports betting until last year. I did a little bit here and there, like after college, but like until I got like a website, I didn't do it at all.
It's crazy because every experience that you're saying you went through is like the exact thing that every single sports bettor goes through when they're riding away. Like that last leg always fucks you over. Literally, somehow that last leg is always the one.
John, man, you guys put me in your gambling groups, guys. I just like seeing
John, I gotta tell you a story before we wrap this up because I think you'll find it funny. My freshman year at Syracuse, which was the year you were there, I believe, 2016, right?
2016, 2017.
All right, so my freshman year, bro. After the school year, I submitted my paperwork to the NBA to apply for the NBA draft, and I signed away my amateur status, and I signed away my right to play in any amateur tournament for the rest of my life. I gave them my report, like my fucking report. I paid like $50 to Q's to get my report, and I mailed it to the office. So technically, I'm a undrafted free agent in the NBA as of 2016.
Why did you do that?
Just so I could say that exact sentence.
Hey, it sounds cool though.
Hey, if a team calls, paperwork would be less,
Yeah. Look at this guy.
That's the line you've
That's
been
fine.
waiting to say for since freshman year.
Oh, I've used it many times.
Free agent.
Undrafted free agent. Hey, when the duty calls, I'll be there.
Yo,
Well,
John. So that was that shot against Duke your best moment in your basketball career? Would you say?
Man, that's definitely probably like that's it. Probably, but the coolest moment to me, where I was just like, man, this is crazy, because I couldn't even like. It's hard to enjoy things in the moment. Like you don't feel like, let's say you like imagine doing that growing up or something, like the feeling you get after, you're almost like numb to it. Like when the shot went in, I was just like that went in. I was like, because I didn't want to go to overtime with them.
yeah.
I was like, I really did not want to go to overtime. I was like, thank you, because I was tired. I was like, man, I don't think I can do this anymore, man, because it was like play after play, doing something, getting fouled, no call. But the coolest moment to me was after my 43-point game against NC State. The next game we played Virginia, and it was like they were saying the starting lineups, and they did like this like tribute video for me, and it was packed in there, not quite Duke, but it was still 26 to 28,000, so it was still crazy. And it's showing like my highlights, the way they did it. It was just so cool. Like it showed me like winking at the dude at the end, and then like once I did that, everybody in the crowd started going crazy. Like I never really got happy about it. Like even like the Duke shot, like I never like really, but I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like the Duke shot after that game, like I tried to go somewhere on Marshall Street. I couldn't even enjoy it because there was too many dudes coming up to me like, bro, good shot, man. Like I know a lot of people are coming up to you. I'm just like, I can't even like enjoy the night, but I understand though. Like,
Yeah.
That's
Well,
You
it
know.
definitely etched you into like the immortalized, moments in Syracuse history, which is cool. But yeah, it had to be cool to see that tribute. It's sort of like, getting your flowers, letting you know that everyone does appreciate and has noticed that. So it definitely was probably a cool moment.
Man, that one was crazy. That one was crazy.
Only reason there weren't more people in the stands probably is because everyone knew our ass was going to get whooped by Virginia.
We won.
Really? That was the year we won?
Yeah, we beat them. We
how the fuck did we not make the tournament?
Yeah, that was a controversial.
we beat Duke.
We beat
top 10. Virginia was top 10. Florida State was top 10.
And
I
that
don't
Duke
know,
team,
bro.
that was Grayson and Kennard, right? That team was stacked.
Tatum.
How was it playing against Grayson? Did he try to trip you ever?
He hit me in the face on purpose.
Really?
Yeah, he just one of those players, man. Like he can't. I don't care. Like that's just how he is.
Yeah.
That he's playing with the edge. Like I think people, think about that stuff too much. Like he wants to be physical. Like that's how he gets you off your game. I mean, it's within the rules. He doesn't get ejected normally. So, I mean, let him do it, man. Like,
yeah.
I got an and one. He like hit me in my face. I got an and one. Cool. I'll shoot the free throw. I'm not gonna miss it.
So, all right, last question here. Which of the players on, the team, obviously you don't need to, we're not criticizing anyone, but which of them most excites you on the team right now when you're watching the games for Syracuse? Which player are you just, thinking, wow, like, this is a guy I would have liked to play with, or a guy that, has got, a lot of talent?
I don't want to play with any of them.
Yeah.
But they're y'all young, man. I let them have their time, man. I like those kids. I like going back and playing against them. I've always been a big fan of Buddy, just because like he was around a lot when I was there. I saw him go from a 16-year-old. I remember Buddy was 16 when I met him. Under recruited until like that year he just went bananas in the EYBL, I think. people doubting him. I saw him working out with Eric Devendorf almost every single day. And then now he's a 1,000-point scorer. So just seeing his rise is pretty cool. Like I like Buddy a lot. I like that freshman kid Kadari. Like I saw him do one move. I was like, man, that kid has some pro in his game.
Yeah,
definitely.
He has some pro.
How about playing with Tyus and Tyler Lydon? What was that like?
It was cool, man. Like they're good players. Like you can just when you play with good players, you can always depend on them for certain things. There will never be a time where they're not doing those things. So like they're sure-handed, they hit open shots. I mean, they're pros. Like Tyus is doing well in Russia right now. I think he'll make the NBA one day. Tyler Lydon played it.
Sorry.
Yeah, I talk to Tyus almost every day. Like we play Call of Duty together. Yeah, so me and Tyus talk all the time. That's my little brother, man. So
how about Boeheim? Are you still close with Jim Boeheim after playing?
I talk to him when I'm back. Like he lets me shoot at his house because Mello Center was closed. So like I would see him there a lot. I mean, it's all like a family. Like they sent my daughter clothes, like signed stuff, like Syracuse. Like it's just like a big family, man. You never leave. Get out of the family once you're in it. Like it's just like a normal thing to like talk and converse with everyone.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Well, John, thanks so much for joining us. This was great. I think we got to cover a lot of interesting aspects of your life and just shoot the shit a little with some sports stuff. So thank you for joining us, John. Yeah, anything you want to say?
Thanks for having me. It was fun. It was a great talk.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much.